Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Fair here at the Hannover Messe. I hope you had a nice lunch, so please take a break, have a seat here at the public forum and listen to our next talk. So, up next we have the global development of a network of electrolyzer gigafactories. I'm here together with Business Development Manager and Senior Sales Engineer from Cockerill, Mr. Egon Sehner. Please give him a warm welcome, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice meeting you here.
Please have a seat.
Thank you.
All right, Egon, please tell me, what is Cockerill and what do you guys do?
John Cockerill is a Belgian company. It's in multi-industrial areas active, like in energy and industries, environmental business, and also in maintenance and service areas. And actually, the purpose why I'm sitting here is since a couple of years, we also produce our own electrolyzers together with our Chinese sister company.
Cool. This Chinese sister company, who are they and since when are you working together?
Yeah, China is, let's say, when John Cockerill decided to step into this hydrogen electrolyzer business, we did an in-depth study of what kind of technologies and what kind of level we wanted to step into this business. We did not want to develop a new electrolyzer like PEM or SOEC. So we found that the alkaline technology is one of the most ready-to-go technology. We found initially a joint venture partner in China, the company Jingli in Suzhou in China. And since 2021, Jingli is a 100% subsidiary of John Cockerill.
Very cool. And tell me more about Jingli. Why did you choose this company? Why not any other partners?
Yeah, Jingli is quite a strong company in the alkaline technology. They are on the market since more than 30 years. They have an extremely long reference list and they serve the market worldwide. So most of those references are in Asia, we have to say. And with Jingli, we found a very strong partner with a very high level of fabrication skills and a very well-known name in the Chinese and the Asian market.
Okay, very cool. Sounds like a good partner to have on board. And I believe John Cockerill not only does electrolyzers, but you also do a lot of other things, including renewable energy. Can you tell me a bit more about this?
Yes. John Cockerill is since many years, beside the industrial areas or energy systems, like steam boilers, etc., also developing its business into the renewable technologies and renewable energies. So, for example, we developed for the centralized solar power plants, the CSPs, the receiver on top of the towers. This is a purely John Cockerill development. We further provide services and maintenance for offshore wind parks, for example. And as such, it was a logical consequence that stepping into the hydrogen business was, I would say, a natural move of John Cockerill to also settle its expertise in this electrolyzer business.
All right, and what do you think is the main advantage of being such a big industrial company entering the hydrogen market?
Yes, as mentioned, John Cockerill is active in industrial and large-scale projects since many years. So it's a multi-million-dollar areas where we are active in. We have an organization which is global oriented. We are active all over the world. We have more than 60 nationalities or more than 85 subsidiaries in the world globally. We have a network which is very well developed all over the world. So China, for example, as Jingli as our subsidiary, is a very good example for our very strong expertise in this field. So for our customer, that means that we can act globally for all kind of, let's say, locations, all kind of circumstances of customer, their needs, the industrial applications. And this was also one of the reasons why John Cockerill decided at a very early stage to invest more in the large-scale electrolyzer business. So we don't do, for example, we don't work in the kilowatt or in the single megawatt range. Our electrolyzer, what we have foreseen for the European market, is a pure 5 megawatt pressurized alkaline electrolyzer. Also, our target market will be the large industrial installations.
Okay, so really the ammonia manufacturing and all of the chemical industries, that is the market that you're looking at.
Exactly, ammonia industries, refineries, for example, chemical industries, all of these guys who are looking for multiple hundreds of megawatt of electrolyzer capacities to produce sufficient hydrogen for their needs. Yes.
All right, and you also mentioned that you specifically chose to go the alkaline route. Why is this? Does it have something to do with the sector that you chose in this industrial sector?
Certainly. When we did the study and our evaluation on the available technologies on the market back 5, 6, 7 years ago, for example, we found that other technologies. First thing what we found is we don't want to develop our own technology. We want to partner up with industries which are already established in the market, with technology providers. The decision, nowadays the electrolyzer market is divided in the PEM electrolyzers, the alkaline electrolyzers, SOEC. Each of them, of course, has the market. And we found that with alkaline technology, we have a much more better positioning for the market, on the market for large-scale electrolyzer systems. Also, we found that the CO2 footprint, for example, for the alkaline electrolyzer is much more in favor in the future. We don't use critical minerals, for example, or not much compared to other technologies. So we think the alkaline technology will have its very strong positioning on the market, especially for large-scale installations.
Right, very interesting. I would also like to open up the questions to the public. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and I'll come to you to answer it. But then I don't see any hands raised now, so let's move on. So we're here to talk about these gigafactories.
We have one hand there.
I'll come up to ask you a question. Yes, please.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your question, but anyway, thank you for the insights. I've one question, and you often hear that alkaline electrolyzers have a problem, or rather a challenge, especially if you look at the reactivity, if you put it directly to renewable energy sources. Can you maybe say something about that? Is that still a challenge, or?
Great question. So I think if I want to paraphrase it, do alkaline electrolyzers pair well with renewable energies, especially the intermittent ones like solar and wind?
Yep. Very good point. I think this is one of the major criteria to decide if you want to go, for example, for PEM. If you compare just both technologies, PEM and AEL or alkaline, PEM for sure has its advantage because of its high flexibility. The alkaline technology is more, I compare it always like a diesel engine. So once it's running, it's doing its job. So and for these applications, what we are looking for, you cannot run or you cannot purchase the renewable energy just from photovoltaic, from PV panels, for example. And those energy source has there you would observe the largest fluctuations in power supply. The market, what we are looking for, they rely on green or renewable energy coming from wind farms, coming from other renewable energy sources. Could be a mix of PV and of wind, for example, or hydropower, whatever. And here we observe not that high fluctuation of power supply. So we don't see it as the critical criteria to make a decision if you go for alkaline or for PEM technology.
I think that's very clear. Let's move on to the real topic that we wanted to talk about, these gigafactories. So can you tell me a bit about this?
Yep.
Do you already have factories operating at large scale producing alkaline electrolyzers?
Absolutely. As mentioned, this Chinese Jingli factory is up and running since years. It was refurbished or renewed in 2019. Here we can produce up to 1 gigawatt per year with all the variety of electrolyzers. So we don't focus on the 5 megawatt electrolyzers in Jingli or in China. We offer the whole variety, 16 bar, 30 bar. Coming to the European market, we found very soon that the Chinese electrolyzers would not really compete with the European electrolyzer suppliers, since to adapt the Chinese design to the EN norms, to the CE norms, to the environmental limitations what we have here, which are great in Europe, we found that the add-on on the costs would not be beneficial to be competitive. So we started our second factory, which is now under construction in France, in Asbach. There we produce the cells, and we will send the cells to Belgium, to the headquarters, where those cells will be assembled, and the whole electrolyzer will be built up as one piece. We have the intention to grow our business in other countries. So we have a joint venture with the company Greenco in India. This joint venture has existed or in place since 2021. Also in India, we have foreseen to invest in a 1 gigawatt plant. I think the construction will now start. We have talks going on in the Middle East to invest in electrolyzer fabrication. In Morocco, there we have very strong positioning with our partners and investors. And also motivated by the IRA, the American Inflation Reduction Act, we also have the intentions to invest in the US for additional electrolyzers, yes.
Wow, very ambitious plans, I have
Absolutely,
to say.
yes.
So we have China, we have 2 factories in Europe, we have a few in North Africa, looking at the US,
India,
and then India as well.
India.
So in total, what global production capacity are you foreseeing?
The target will be 8 gigawatt having up and running in 26.
8 gigawatt, that's impressive, I must say. And is there any particular strategy that you follow in choosing the locations where you place these gigafactories? You already mentioned the IRA. Maybe there's more drivers?
Yeah, IRA is of course high motivation from the financial aspects. Also the market in the US will grow drastically based on these financial instruments, what they have available there. And the others is of course that Europe is very much demanding on hydrogen import from the outside, since we don't have the renewable power available in Europe to supply all the renewable energy to produce green hydrogen. So we're looking for locations like Morocco, for example, is a very typical example. They have huge space available for PV, for wind turbines, for windmills. And Morocco would be, beside other places in North Africa, an excellent place to start having the fabrication of electrolyzers to produce directly on site with the green power, the green hydrogen, and deliver this green hydrogen by ship or by pipeline to Europe to have the consumers, where you have the major amount of consumers, yes.
Okay, so you're really trying to move your production plants to the place where you expect the actual electrolyzers to be operating in the future. So
Absolutely, yes.
You move towards your demand. Then I would like to once again open up to the audience. I see Mr. over there. Please.
Yes, thank you for your insight. At gigawatt scale, can you compare the electricity price in Europe and in China? The second question is, there is a big worry in Europe about low prices of electricity from China. If you manufacture, you acquire the Jinli from China, you manufacture electricity in China, and we are going to sell this electricity to Europe or to other countries.
Okay, I think this is probably a question that a lot of people have. So how do the costs compare if you're producing either in China or in Europe or in other places?
No, that's initially when we had our discussions starting with Jinli in China, it was basically our idea that we'd also sell Chinese electrolyzers all over the world. Then we found that with the adaptations what we have to make for example, for the European market, those adaptations would result in additional costs to the electrolyzer fabricated in China. Then you have the transportation, you have, from the timing point of view, some uncertainties. And that was maybe, I would say, the driving decisions for us, that the cost benefit you lose by fabrication, adapting the electrolyzers made in China to the European standard and European CE conformity. And of course the transportation, which gives you, or gave you, I hope this will change soon, but still nowadays the transportation from China to Europe is became expensive compared to a couple of years ago. And this was one of our driving decisions to become independent for these kind of global transportation and also the Asian standards. So nowadays we can say that the market for our Jingli is mainly China mainland or Asia. And I think we're going to keep that. That's, as said, our strategy is that we have fabrication very close to where you generate the renewable power.
Okay, thank you. I think that's very clear. So in line with the strategy that we were talking about before. Then let's say I'm a project developer. I want to put an electrolyzer somewhere. There's of course also other electrolyzer manufacturers, but why should I choose John Cockerill?
John Cockerill is a large group, so we have, just from the figures point of view, we have more than 6,000 people working in John Cockerill Group. We have a turnover of more than 1 billion in 22, which means we are a strong company. We have a global network. So we have a solid, very solid base to produce or to deliver electrolyzers not only in the megawatt but also in the gigawatt range. The developing strategy of John Cockerill is quite strong, quite ambitious. This 8 gigawatt will be online in 26, depending on the authorities and the regulations, of course. On top of this, we do not only stop at the electrolyzer delivery and startup of the electrolyzers, we also provide services beyond this delivery. So we act as an EPC, for example, or together with EPC companies to build and to deliver and build the electrolyzer. But we also provide so-called LTSA, long-term service agreements. And this is a part of our business anyway, because we have this maintenance and service group inside John Cockerill. And with this LTSA, we can provide to a customer a very high level of confidence regarding the operability, the efficiency, the availability of spare parts, etc. And these LTSA could be agreed on multiple years, like more than 8 years, 10 years, whatever.
Yeah, so if I had to sum it up, it would be trust in the company and reliability of making sure that your electrolyzer will actually operate for the coming 10 years.
Yep.
All right, that already brings us to the end of our time. I'd like to thank you very much for your time and for answering all of my questions and the questions from the audience. So please give a round of applause for Mr. Egon Sehner.
Thank you.